Hey guys, today I'm going to be doing an action figure review and unboxing of Star Wars The Black Series 6-inch Grand Admiral Thrawn, number 47. This is wave 12, I believe. I have selected a box that is in relatively good condition. There are no major creases or crushing or horrible corner issues. It has some light shelf wear. The box isn't perfect. And the blister window does have some light scuffs. These are things that I don't mind about an action figure package. What I don't want is something with some obvious creases or actual damage to the box. Now I found when opening these, especially the nicer the corners are, it can be very difficult to get past this lip right here with the flap. So I'm going to show you a little bit of a trick or a tip that I have to overcome that. So we're going to get this open. Okay, first thing I'm going to do is cut the tape. So I've got my knife here and I'm going to cut the tape. It's only really taped in those two spots. Now, before I would kind of get my fingers in there and try to lift. And now I found that if I put my knife in there with the blade side down, and I lift and twist, I get that tab right out, and the other side comes with it just fine. That's my little tip. I haven't bent the top of the packaging since I've done that. Alright, I'm going to get him out of here. I'll set the box aside. Alright, we have Grand Admiral Thrawn in here. His gun. Thrawn himself. Now, for me, what makes an action figure, I can see that his paint job is relatively good. Through the bubble, I was making sure to select something, a figure that didn't have a bad paint job error. Sometimes the eyes can have what we call derpy eyes, and they're misaligned, and the figure just does not look right. Sometimes it's in the form of a stripe on, say, a stormtrooper's helmet, but I try to look at the paint job rather well. Now for me, I also, does the gun fit nicely in his hand? Looks like he can fit them in either hand. And yes, he's got gun-wielding powers. That's good. Another feature I look for is, whether he can stand on his own well. And he looks like, initially, he's sturdy. But I'm going to want to play around with stances. And, when I start posing the figure, I really try to make sure that I'm careful about, slowly turning the thigh joints. Slowly turning the knees. The knees will, on these Black Series figures, will bend in two places. And I found that it's much safer to kind of hold most of the leg if you want to bend this knee. They seem very tight and it's a little frightening, but you can get them posed to how you like. Some kind of action stance is always good. And time will tell if Grand Admiral Thrawn will need some kind of support. And I have several options if I need. One of which is, this is a Nika stand for their 6-inch, 7-inch figures. I found that they can work rather well. In fact, I want to try and see how his foot pegs are. I see that he fits in that peg hole rather well. Some of the Black Series figures won't. Some of them will. You can see one of my other videos about the action figure stand reviews to get more information on, how to cope with different situations with different figures. I'm fairly happy with the fact that this guy stands rather nicely on that. Alright, all in all, I believe Grand Admiral Thrawn is an excellent figure. Sometimes you can get these things straight out of the package and their legs are loose or their ankles are loose, or there's some kind of flaw to them that you didn't notice. But this one I'm fairly happy with. He holds his weapon well. He stands up rather well, especially on a peg. You know, the peg actually fits into his boot and he can stand there. I feel confident to leave him be. And there aren't any glaring paint errors that I didn't notice in the box. And, you know, on the back, he's obviously doing well. I'm going to take a look up close at him. In fact, we are going to switch over to the macro lens so that we can get a nice, good look at his sculpt and his paint job. This actually does pretty good close up, but I want to try the macro lens. Alright, we're shooting with the macro cam. We're going to take a closer look up at the face. And I see that we have a little bit of paint errors on both eyes. It sort of looks like they're extra bloodshot or bloody. But the eyebrows look fairly good. And really the eyes are in shadow most of the time. So if I tilt them this way, you really can't see much. There's some of his details looking pretty good. And it looks like what I'm seeing here is some kind of scar underneath his ear. Obviously it's a little rough area that they didn't quite get out from the plastic mold, but we'll call it a battle scar. Or maybe he's coming down with a rash. Alright, that's it for the macro cam. Alright, we have tried macro vision and it looks to be pretty interesting. He's got a pretty good paint job, but we did notice some eye problems. That's okay. He'll still display good. And there he is, looking good in his spot on the shelf next to his Imperial brethren. I've got my LED strip lights set to blue and they're shining on him, giving him a nice subtle glow. Thank you guys for watching my action figure video review. I hope to have more uploaded soon.